Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Brewhouse Art Studio. And this is a continuation. Wait. Am I getting feedback? I think I hear myself. Hello? Check. All right, that sounds better. All right, so this is continuation. This is part 3 in the heist, and we're going to be continuing motion editing. And where did we let? By the way, if anybody's watching this, if you happen to hear some feedback, like an echo on my voice, please let me know because I'd like to fix that problem. Strange. All right, so where did we leave off? We left off with we got her arm fully edited, and we're ready to move on. By the way, if I yell, it's because I'm yelling at some dogs going crazy over here, so I'll probably be telling them to pipe down. Let me check my properties real fast, and it's really strange. Let's see here. I think that turned off my music. Of course, this has to happen when I go live. All right, I guess if you guys are you don't hear my mic. Hold on a sec. Just one sec. Check test 1 2 3. You can hear me? Oh, okay, good. Well, I had music going, but I don't know if y'all can hear me. I hear the music going on. Properties. I do hear feedback though. I hear myself talking. It's kind of annoying. How's it going, Pink Werewolf? How you doing? And Mysterious Gypsy. Hope everything's going well for you all. Oh, maybe you hear the music now. Oh well. Well, let me know if you hear me twice, because I'm hearing myself in my headphones for some reason tonight. All right, so where were we at? We're get off to a rocky start. So all right, so I got her left arm fully edited. Well, fully. A good first pass going on it, and it's time to move on. Like I said, this animation's a good, 12 to 16 hours. And I think I spent about 4 hours on it last time, but a lot of it was just getting stuff set up. So hopefully I be able to get a little bit more done this time. Boom. And he's dead. All right, so you hear that? This music? It's cheesy YouTube approved music that's license free. All right, let's get her left hand working. And we're going to start kind of where we picked up last time. Same technique. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat, so if anybody has questions, feel free to post them, and I'll see if I can answer them the best I can. Let's get over to that animation layer. So she's going to reach down, she's going to grab this, and I need to move her hand forward. I want her to grab it right about here, kind of underneath the lip of this, this wood. Let's kind of get this into place. I'm going to set an offset key there. Let's go get this attach node lined up with her wrist. Set a key there. So because this is part of his character extension, when I selected it, automatically switched this over, or it should have switched that over to him, but it didn't for some reason. That's strange. Oh, yeah, there it is. Switched over to him. Because I selected it, get back over to her. Key that on right there, set a couple of keys. I'm going to go back one frame. I'm going to turn those off. So I turn the IK off. First I turned it on, then I turned it off. So when she picks it up, now the crate is going to be driving her hand. And you can see the IK, we're getting some IK lock there. So we have to do some adjustments. Right about here. I'm going to go back in time just a little bit and set a 0 key. Because I added an offset there, so she blends right into that auxiliary effector. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to also do a little bit of manipulation with the fingers.
Luna.
Let's see here. Just gonna angle these like so. I think her hand is too high up. I need to drop her hand a little bit. So let's drop that down to right about there. So right now, her control rig, when you automatically build a skeleton, for some reason, the fingers and the hand, it defaults to a different setting than the rest of the control rig. So if you go to your properties, go to marker settings, you can see you have a different look. So all this up here is our sticks. But for some reason, where is it? The hand and the fingers are red as bones. So I'm just going to change that back to stick. Like that. I prefer the look of sticks. But so if you wanted to change the look of your control rig, you can kind of do it down in here. You can also change the color. At work, at my job, our tech artist, he colored this thing so like the left side is, I think, blue and the right side is red, which is kind of a typical left-right color. I changed my layout. Let's fix my layout. There we go. It's kind of a standard classic look for control rigs. Now I dropped her hands. That means her arms are going to IK even more when she actually goes to pick this thing up. All right, so there's my key for that hand. It's kind of a weird flare out that hand is doing. Just fix that. Zero out those fingers. So one of the great things that I love about this control rig is the fact that they have IK fingers, and you can just grab the end, or really any joint in here, and if you switch over to translation, it will automatically switch the IK to the end of the fingers and let you move it around like so. Don't forget to group your fingers. I talked about it a little bit last time, so these three fingers tend to group together. It's okay to rotate your fingers in. It'll make them look a little bit more natural if you put a nice natural angle to them like so. Now I created a pose last time for the other hand. Let me see if I can pull that up. This may be it. So let's see. But as for the other hand, so let me mirror it. So I'm going to turn on mirroring. I have finger selected. I'm in body part mode. I'm just going to paste that on there. And not quite the look I was looking for. Maybe it's this one. There we go. Yeah, that was the pose I was looking for. All right. I'll fix that hand. Back up. Ooh, her fingers go crazy right there. All right, this is a fine time. It's totally cool to go in and kill the animation on those fingers. Let's do it right in the F curves on the base animation layer. Right there is where it's good. And kill everything before it. What was that? I just saw. Let's go look at those fingers again. Get rid of some of that noise. Now I'm just going to kind of work on getting this hand coming in here, making contact. Did the music stop for y'all? I don't see the music levels displaying anymore. Make it feel like the fingers are coming into contact with the crate. All right, so I'm going to animate this attach node right here as she kind of grips. I'm going to zoom into this timeline right here. So she comes in, she snaps to attention right there. Then she kind of grips it into right there. I'm going to pull this down just a little bit more. Yeah, like that. I think that's good. Put that up like that. Key there. Then she got flippy fingers. So let's go take care of flippy fingers. So she really doesn't need any data on her fingers until she lets go of the crate. So let's go find out where she lets go of the crate. And she got some crazy hands right there. So I'm going to say right about there. Flatten that curve. There we go. It's totally cool to delete keys from motion capture. A lot of people don't think you should, but it's totally cool. I'm not worrying about how her arm is IK locking right there. I'll take care of that in a minute. I just want to make sure her hand is actually coming in contact with the object. A lot of times the way I work is whatever parts of the body are coming in contact with a solid object like a prop or the ground or a table or something along those lines, I usually concentrate on those and that contact, and then I worry about other things. I don't know if I like how that hand is coming down and attaching. This kind of feels a little jittery to me. So here's how I'm going to fix it. I'm going to grab this attach node and I'm going to align it right there. Set a key so it now translates kind of with the hand. And I'm just going to turn on the IK a little bit sooner. So you can get to this curve for the IK on any one of these auxiliary effectors or auxiliary pivots by clicking on these two buttons that are right here, and it'll pop up here. Or you can go into your graph editor with it selected and just come down here. You can see IK blend, T and R. T for translation, R for rotation. Let's just move this right there. There we go. I could even blended it on over time as well. See if that gives me the desired effect. Let's try that. Let's blend it on over time. So these few frames. It's okay. All right. Yeah, so again, the actress that was on stage is much shorter than this actress, so her side of the crate's a little bit lower. So I guess what I could do is I could just lift up this crate just a little bit. That will help fix some of that. Or I could manipulate her body. Oh, here's an idea. We'll try this. This might be an interesting way to work. Let's try turning on pull to her right hand and see what happens. I love to experiment. I think it's super important to get better at what you do, is just to experiment and see what happens if you do different things. So what IK pull is going to do is it's going to turn on, essentially, it's kind of turning the weight on full body IK. So it's going to take her whole body and try to pull it to that hand. And you can see it's like pulling her whole body in, and it's going to actually pull her hips down just a little bit. So, but I got to see how it's going to affect the rest of the animation. In fact, this is something I can blend on and off as well, right? Because it's keyable. So I may not want it on the whole time. So maybe I want it off right here. And then right there where it's attached, I'll have it turned on. Go forward one frame. There. And that got rid of a lot of that. Oh, now her arm's locked to it. That's not good. Let's figure out where that needs to turn off. So I'll just set a couple of keys here, and I'll go forward a few frames and turn those off and figure out where everything needs to turn on and off. So right about there. I'm going to zero out her arm just because. There we go. That's where her original motion was. Right about there. And 0. So I talked a little bit about what I was doing this in the last week in the last episode, just how kind of this works. how the offsets and the auxiliary effectors and constraints kind of work together. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of scrubbing back and forth in this, figuring out what I'm going to do next. And her fingers are a little funky now, so let's put a 0 key here. Actually, I probably should go paste a pose. Hold on. Let's go grab that pose I liked. Right there. Grab that pose. Paste the pose right there. Set a key. Let me go ahead and flatten my curve. Yeah, her hand whips right off there. It doesn't look too good. Actually, not too bad. Because I was looking too closely at it. So it's a good, I mean, as you work and you're creating poses for fingers and whatnot, it's a good idea to just start creating like a library of nicely posed fingers, hands, that sort of thing. And that way you can call upon it really fast and animate quicker. And you'll get faster as you go because you'll be building your library of poses. Let's zoom in and figure out what's going on here with that hand. So I'm going to try blending the IK off like I did last time. That's better. That's what I did. Just let me undo that. So this key right here is the off IK for that hand. It's on. You can see it's on right here. Now it's off. It's a 1-frame pop. So I'm going to just grab that key and I'm just going to slide it until it feels correct to me. And something that will also help is I'm going to take that attach node and I'm going to align it to her hand on that that last key. First I gotta find the first key, right? So it's right here. I'm gonna set a key there. And go find that last key, which is right there. So it's going to move with the hand. It's going to help the blend. I don't like how quickly her arm snaps back. So let's see if we can fix that. Shoop, right there is where it hits. If I move that offset key, that 0 key, forward in the time a little bit, it's a bigger blend and it's a little bit nicer. So there we go, that works. All right, now she's going to toss the money. So I guess it is about time to set up all the constraints for the money that she's getting ready to throw. Before I do, I'm just going to make sure everything on that arm is zeroed out to a base layer since I'm not baking everything down just yet. So I'm just going to hit 0, grab her fingers, hit 0. And save. Always save. While it's saving, let me check my properties on my desktop audio. There we go. It's a little bit better. All right, let's get that money attached to her. So our actress had a much fuller derriere than this than this model. So you can see that the markers are sticking out a little bit farther. So the prop sits out a little bit farther. So we're gonna have to fix that so it works better with this in particular character. All right, so I'm going to see where she's going to grab it. And it's right about there. So I could animate her hand down, but I think I'm going to actually move this up. And I think this is not being read by motion capture or anything right now. Should be able to, if I move it, what happens? Yeah, okay, so it is kind of a live prop, so to speak. All right, let's get this kind of in a more logical place. This is going to be kind of like on her belt, I think. Put it right there. All right, now I need to create some constraints. So let's hop on over to our asset browser, go to elements. So I'm going to grab a marker, pull that into the scene. Typically, I would say you do not want to parent things that you're going to be constraining to the control rig. You should probably use a constraint and constrain it to the actual skeleton itself. Part of me wants to be lazy and just quickly parent it to her control rig, and then the other part of me is like, hey, you should show them the correct way to do it. All right, so, well, let's get this marker lined up with that prop. So I'm going to go here and select the marker, and I'm going to line it up with the rig money. So align, translation, rotation, there it is, it's right there. I'll go ahead and I'll do a constraint. Parent child. Should probably name this something logical. Actually, move my big head out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so rename. Let's call this money clip. All right, so it's my money clip. There we go. So now I'm going to populate the parent, or I'm sorry, I'm going to populate the child with that marker I created. In fact, I should probably call this money clip. So this is crazy. You have something selected and you right click, you get all these options, but rename is grayed out even though this is selected. You have to actually have your cursor over the thing you want to rename in order for rename to highlight, so you can actually rename it. There we go. Money clip. All right, so then the parent, if you want to do it the right way, should parent it to her pelvis or whatever joint would be associated with where it's attached. So if it was on the leg, you'd parent it to the leg, and so on and so forth. And click snap to retain the offset. Click lock so it doesn't move around. And that should move with her now as she moves around. Let's test it. Yep, it moves with her. Let's scrub back. There we go. All right, you can see the money pop back down because even though I moved it, I didn't set a key, which is fine because guess what I have? I have an attach node basically right here. So let's just attach that back up here, align, translation, rotation. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another one, another constraint, that is. And it's going to be a parent-child constraint. So I call the other one money clip, so let's call this money. Or let's see. Money to, I don't know. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Money to hip. That's fine. I'm sure you all can come up with much more clever names than I can come up with right now. So, all right. So now I'm gonna grab my money clip, which is right there. Bring that down here so I can do things in here. All right, so that is going to be the child. This is going to be the parent. So I'm going to 0 this out because those. Wait, why did that happen? Oh, that's why. Let's turn that off and scrub. There it is. Let's try that again. So I got my money, got my rig. Oh, that's why. Durr. I grabbed the wrong thing. My mistake. Money clip. All right. Now zero it out. Doink. There it is. In the right place. All right. So now we need to figure out where she actually grabs it. She's right about here. And she like pulls it off right about there. This is kind of where you have to use your imagination to kind of figure out what's going to happen or what's happening and plan for it. And watch Motion Builder just crash on you. Oh, where did we save at? Erg. Hold on, it's opening up on my other monitor. I can't believe that. I believe we crashed last time too. Okay. Let's go and open late last. Let's see how much we lost. I lost all that work I did with the hand. That's okay. Actually, not that bad. Oh, I got the marker right here. Right? That's the marker? Oh, nope, that's a mocap marker. Never mind. I thought maybe I saw the marker there. All right, so let's do this again. Let's get this in the right spot. All right, so I showed you the official way to do it, the right way to do it. Now let me show you the way that's probably not the best way to do it. And by do it, I mean constraining and parenting and that sort of thing. Gotta get that back to where I had it before. Let's get that marker in there. Like we did before. Now that I'm thought about it a little bit, I think I'll call this money clip. One PN clip. All right. So there it is. Now this is the way. You probably shouldn't do it, but we're gonna do it this time. We're gonna live on the edge and parent it to that. So now it's parented to her hip, as opposed to actually creating a constraint. Set a key right there. That way it doesn't shoot off into space somewhere. So I set a key. All right, let's create a constraint. I call this money clip. All right, so that is the child. That would be the parent. Should be able to hit 0 and done and save just in case we crash again. All right, so now where were we at? All right, where is she pulling it off? Here, let me flip this over here. I'm gonna say right about there. That's where it's gonna turn off. So I could blend the weight off, but I think I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna set a key, an on key and an off key. Go forward 1 frame. Off key. You can see how it like slid down. There's gonna be, and if I scrub through, you can see there's gonna be a pop. So the way, because this is a part of a character extension, when I set a key here, like where it's turned on and attached, just set a key right there. I will be able to, and I start scrubbing forward, you can see it's now offset. But I don't want it right there, I want it to 0 out. So 0. There we go. Actually, she unhooks it right there, doesn't she? I take it back. I think I want it to come off right there. So I'll just drag these keys over. Okay, that's a little bit. It's a little bit better. All right, and she's gonna toss it to her henchman. She's gonna double cross. So now I'm going to analyze what comes before it and what comes after it and figure out my best plan of attack. So she comes up here, she does the little neck rub thing. It's a very classic Disney move, believe it or not, the neck rub. I want to say it was the Jungle Book when a Disney animator first did this kind of gesture of like reaching back and kind of like doing the neck rubs, adding personality and character. And then at that point in time, animators hadn't really done the neck rub. It's kind of a gesture or a motion to do. And then they did again. I think it was the Jungle Book the original Jungle Book movie. They did that, and apparently all the animators were like, "Oh, that was really good acting there." And then they did it in Aladdin. Like 1 billion times. The fact they overdid it. They took something that was good and they just kind of overdid it. But this was her natural neck rub, not directed by anybody. She just decided to rub her neck. She's gonna come back. Let's check her arm out real fast. I'm gonna set a key right here. Let's go to F curves. And there we go. So I'm going to flatten that just to make sure it's solid. Okay, so this is the before. So now we need to get her hand on the money, where she kind of like is fiddling with it a little bit. I'm going to set a key right there as a kind of a bookmark. I want to see where she tosses it. That's cool. She tosses it like right there. All right, so let's go grab this attach node, which is right there in that rig, right there, that marker. Set a key right there on that marker. So that's where she's going to let go of it. But when her hand is right here, and I need to create an auxiliary effector for that. So that's her right hand. So that's this hand right there. So create an auxiliary effector. And let's go and create another constraint. Parent child. So that's the parent. And that is the child. Now notice how I didn't have to go searching for it in here. All I had to do is select it up here, and it's automatically selected, right? All I had to do is go to any blank space on the screen and hold down X and drag and drop it in here. I could have like hit F and fit, you know, zoomed in on it, but I figured that wasn't really necessary. All right, so I don't have it parented yet, or haven't parented. I don't have it turned on yet, but let's actually, that is turned on. I need to turn that off. Because I want to make sure that hand is in the right spot at the right time. Right there. Set the key for there. Oh, 0. There. I needed to turn that on. Zeroed out, so it follows it exactly. So let's turn that on. And then go forward 1 frame. You can hold down Control and hit right arrow. That's 1 frame. Turn that off. It should be pretty smooth now. Shoop, like that. Yeah. Now we just gotta get the hand on this. So it's always a back and forth. You're kind of, when you're dealing with props and stuff, you're kind of like going back and forth. Maybe I need to animate the arm to the prop. Maybe I need to animate the prop to the hand. That's what I mean by going back and forth. Let's see how those fingers fit on there before I make a final call. hand's not on there quite where I want it to be, so I'll just go ahead and I'll reposition it like so. There we go. We'll try that for now. I can always adjust this a little. I take it back. I just re-looked at the thumb. Let me adjust that thumb. I was gonna say may come back and fix it later, and then I changed my mind. I'm gonna fix it now. All right. Yeah, I think the hand looks better there like that. Let's go over to where it gets tossed right here. And I'm going to zero those fingers out. Zero. There we go. I actually kind of liked how they were like so. It's just kind of doesn't happen all that often when you're dealing with finger mocap data. There we go. Kind of like where the fingers are going right there. Kind of like toss it and throw it up off those fingers. It helps stack stuff out when you're an animator. Even if you're doing motion capture and people don't look at you as an animator, you're really animating, even though you're motion editing. I mean, you got to know all the principles of animation, strong posing, timing, overlap, follow through, squash and stretch, all that stuff relates. It's very important to know. All right, I'm not going to worry about this little section. Ooh, little hitchy thing right there. What's going on there? Oh, it's the prop data. Let's go look at that F curve real fast on the base animation layer. I think I see it. Zoom out a little bit so we can get a better view of what's going on. Yeah, it's this little bit of noise right here. So I'm going to see if I can smooth that out before I move on. And if I can't smooth it out, I'll just cut the keys. So I'm just going to select this little section right here where I see the bad curves. And I'm going to try a smooth. I'm going to hit save first, just in case. So save my data. All right, so I got that little section selected, and let's go to my filters, smooth. Let me pull this up. Oh, I hate it when I do that. Dang it. All right, let's fix my layout. Lift this up. Where was I? F curves, selected, filters, smooth. Yeah. So this is why I like having like two monitors that I get to work off of. And I usually take all my tools that you see down here at the bottom of the screen. I put all those off onto my other monitor because sometimes there's things hidden in like Windows. These boxes, like I don't want to use quaternions. I'm going to turn that sample count down to 2. I'm going to hit preview, and it's still a live preview, so I'm going to scrub through it, and it looks like it got rid of most of that hitch. There's still a little bit of a hitch in there, but that got rid of most of it. So I'm going to say accept. So that kind of baked that filter down, or whatever, committed to the filter that I was applying. I think I'm going to add another smooth. I'm going to leave it at a higher value. I'm going to try 4. Preview it. That's better. Yeah, I'm not getting that hitch anymore. So I'll commit to that filter and say accept. There we go. If I didn't like it, I could have hit revert. I could have like put in different values, or I could have just canceled altogether. And you have to commit. You have to, like, when you run a filter, you actually have, and you're getting ready to run it, and you hit preview to see what happens. You actually have to hit accept. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. It just cancels out. There we go. Yeah, that's better. All right, let's go see how that hand is sticking on there now. Pull this back down. And back to my animation layer. There's a pop right there. Let me turn off that hand for the moment. So I don't want anything to interfere with what's going on here. I think the problem is the blend needs to be a bit longer. It's too short. So I'm blending from my offset, which is right here on the hip, to where the mocap data is right here. And it's only doing it in a few frames. So I'm going to make it a little bit longer. I'm going to try right there. I'm going to see what happens. Still not super happy with it. I'm going to try pulling this in a little bit and see what happens. I have to think about this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going I'm going to start working on the arm a little bit, and I bet that will help me figure out what I want to do. Move that key down there. That was the IK key for turning on the auxiliary effector. Let's get that hand on there. About like that. So add a little bit of an offset to the arm to kind of like make it feel like it's back here on this pack of money. Where is that? There it is. So I'm looking at the weight. This is the weight of the constraint of the money clip to the hip marker. Right now it's just an off or on. So I'm just going back and forth right now. I'm just kind of, oh, that's a lot better, huh? It's a little wobbly right there, but that's easily fixable in another pass. Not this pass probably, but a future pass. It's not too bad. It's getting there. So I want to make it feel like she's pulling it off. I mean, the actress was pulling this prop off of her mocap suit, which was Velcroed to it. So there's some of that natural, just I'm trying to yank this thing off my butt. Again, not super worried about the fingers. I just kind of want to get broad brush strokes of what her hand is doing. So this will be fun. So she kind of like picks it up and it kind of like spins into her hand to get into the right position. And this will be a fun little finger animation where we get to make her fingers crawl across the prop. I'm going to hit save just because I've had this thing crash on me. So part of this, what I'm editing is I'm editing. Generally, I'm editing if it was as an in-game cinematic, right, where you could walk up as a third party, a third person from maybe a player perspective who's watching this thing go down. So I'm kind of thinking about this animation from all angles, which is kind of what I'm animating right now. So if this was more of a true cinematic, we'd have storyboards, we'd have camera angles, things would be locked down. And if you don't see this hand reach back here and grab this prop, I wouldn't worry about that real tactile, just grabbing onto it and moving it around. I would just kind of like let it float into place until you can actually see it in whatever the cinematic camera is. Unfortunately, you don't always have that luxury working in games. A lot of times cameras are not locked down. They're all over the place, and sometimes they don't get locked down into the last minute. So I'm going to kind of track that attach node with her hand right now. So it kind of follows her hand around the prop to right there where it kind of locks on. I believe that's where it locks on, right? Nope, doesn't lock on yet. There, that's where it locks on. Or starts to anyway. I'm going to say it locks on there. So let me go find those keys and get those fixed. Right there. Go back one frame and turn those off. There it goes. I think I'm gonna, even though this prop actually has a texture on it, I think I might color this orange the way that you see these other props, like the weapon and stuff. Just coloring props, or like having like a solid color or something like that, will really stand out against everything else. And I like to use bright colors like oranges because it usually stands out from those grays and stuff. See, I like pizza. What am I working on? I'm doing a cinematic. If you go back and watch part 1 and 2, I talk about how to take assets from the Unreal Engine and pull them out, kind of roughly go over rigging and getting those set up and ready to be put in game. I have other tutorials talking about how to do the whole characterization of characters and what have you, and those you can go in and follow those to kind of get to this point right here. This part is the motion editing of this scene. I'm calling it the Heist. And what I'm going to be doing is, or what's happening in the scene is, these two criminals have just pulled a heist, and she's going to double cross him, right? So she hired him as this goon to do this job, and she's going to pay him. He says, cool. And then they go to shake hands, and she shoots him, takes the money, shoots him again, and walks off. So now she's got whatever it is that they stole, and she's kept her money. Part of this is, it's kind of a fun little scenario. And the other part is talking about how to have two characters interact using motion capture. There's 3 points of contact that these two people are interacting with. You've got the crate that they pick up and carry, so that's these two characters working together like that. And then you have second point of contact, which is tossing a prop from one to the other. So interaction with the prop and then tossing a prop. And then the third is an actual handshake, which is going on right here, where they actually make physical contact with each other. And she grabs him and pulls him over to her and shoots him. Boom. And walks away. So instead of just having something kind of boring, I wanted something a little bit more interesting. So that is what I am working on. And when this is all done, I'm going to take this. I'm going to show how to get it into the Unreal Engine. I've got a level that I think I want to put this in. We'll put that into a level. We'll set up cinematic cameras, lighting, a couple little bit of, a few effects and what have you. So this is a little bit of a learning experience for me inside the Unreal Engine as far when it comes to cinematics and setting that up. But it should be fun. But yeah, and by the way, if you all haven't checked out any of my other videos, you can catch them on YouTube, because things don't last forever on Twitch. So go check out my YouTube, subscribe. You'll see posts whenever I post them, and what have you. I've also got a Discord. Feel free to join the Discord. And if you are a Amazon Prime subscriber and you have that Prime membership laying around, feel free to give me a free Prime sub for the month. That'd be pretty cool. I'd appreciate that. Yoink. All right. You know what? I think I just figured out. This whole time I've been hearing an echo in my head of my own voice. I couldn't figure it out. I think I just figured out that I had a setting over my other monitor that was turned on. I had to go turn that off. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yep. Don't hear myself anymore. That's. Oh, man. I'm tired. It's been a long week. And it's only Wednesday. Oh yeah, so texture, coloring props, having them a nice bright color so you can see them. So I'm going to select that. And if you don't know what texture is on your prop because you're working on something and you're like just throwing stuff in there, not naming things correctly, there's a couple of ways. You can just come in here and just kind of try to figure out what's what. Or you can select the object like that. And then come up into scene, you can see something's highlighted in here, and that's highlighted. So if I open that up, it's got everything that's associated with it in here, including constraints and stuff like that. So I can then click on this, and it takes me to these textures. But this right there, that is the material that all the textures are assigned to. And what I can do is I can come in here and I can give this a nice orange color to it. It's really dark right now, but if I come in here and I hit five on the keyboard, so five flips it from being textured to just being a solid shaded. And you can do that with any object that you select, like this crate, for example. If I hit 5, it's now just, that. If I hit, let's see, 5, 4, 3, 6. Do I, I think I have bump map on this. I'll show you something cool. Else that's kind of cool. So let me reselect that and hit 7. 7 on the keyboard goes back to full textured shading, all that kind of stuff. I can come in here and I can apply a bump map to that crate. So pose controls. This is kind of a little detour off of what I've been working on. Little break. Station break. See. If I come in here into my asset browser and I go to my shading elements, shaders, I can never read it like that. I have to read it like this. I go to bump map, I can grab a bump map and I can drag it onto that, and I can say replace by type, and it kind of looks glowy. It brought up the settings over here. I'm going to turn off specularity. I'm going to say, I've got lights in my scene, so I'm going to say the main light. And I can't remember if the U or the V is flipped on this thing. Let's find out. Is it the V? No. Is it the U? Might be U. Or maybe it's fine just how it is. You can adjust the intensity and this, that, and the other thing. But here's what's kind of cool. So kind of going back to a solid shaded. So 7 is like full textured. If I hit 6, that is getting rid of the bump map. So if I zoom in here, let me expand my screen just a little bit. All right. So if I hit 7, that's full texture, shadows, bump maps, all that stuff, fun stuff. If I hit 6, that just goes to like a regular lighted textured mode. 5 is just solid shaded. 4 is wireframe, but 3 gives you whatever that color is. That is your base color, which in this case it's white. But it also it keeps the normal map, so you can still get a lot of that detail. So for example, if I go in here to the prop, wherever it's at. Where is my prop? It's around here. That? No, that's not it. This is it. That's it. So if I go to my prop, does it have a texture on there? I don't know if it has a bump map associated with it, but we'll find out. So you don't have to drag onto here in order to drag a bump map onto there. You can actually just drag it up here as well. So if you don't see it in your scene, but you want something attached to it, you can do it that way. Replace by type gives it a nice glowy. I'm going to turn off that specular, turn on a light source. Now it's got some texture, and if I hit 3, now it's a glowy orange, and it's got some of that bump map on there. And also, I don't know if you can notice the Z fighting on here, that weird pattern. So if you get that on some of your textures, you can do something else that's will help make things a little bit nicer to work with. You can come down here to the materials. Well, whichever material it is. Let me go select it. Oh, nope, that's not it. Oh, let me select that. There we go. This material, so we're going to go to the textures. So I'm going to go to texture, I'm going to say use mip maps. And that's the diffuse texture, which is not turned on right now, so it doesn't look like anything happened. But here's the bump maps, or the normal map. So I'm going to use mip maps on here. You'll see it smooth out. So that means I'm not going to get that weird ugly fighting from a distance, and if I get in real close onto an object, it'll have texture to it. So that's kind of a nice little thing. I'll do the same. Let me do the same thing for that one because it's kind of ugly from here. So let me go to that crate, and I'm going to use mip maps on those as well. So think of mip maps as kind of like an LOD for textures. The further you get away, the lower res it kind of gets, and helps prevent Z fighting. All right, so back to what I was working on. I turned that orange because I wanted to see what was going on when she's picking it up. So here's something's cool. So because this little node that's in here, this marker, where is it? Money clip. There you are. Because this money clip is parented to the control rig as opposed to a constraint, it's just a parent. I can animate this pretty easily. So I'm going to try an experiment here. I'm going to wiggle this on her hip as she grabs this. So I'm going to start right about there, which I already set a key for. Set a key there. Oh, it's no longer connected because the constraint turned off. All right. Let's zero out that arm to make sure that it's good. And it is zeroed, so it's good. So I guess what I'll do is I'll kind of work this through. Actually, that's not too bad. Right there. So I'm just kind of making her hand look like it's in contact with her neck a little bit better. So one of the things you have to watch for is breaking wrists in motion capture. Sometimes that happens, where the wrist want to bend in an unnatural way. So if the wrist is too far this way, it's broken. If it's down this way, it's a little more acceptable. Your wrist can bend on this axis a little bit. So just have to be cognizant of it. Try to make this hand feel a little more like it's in contact and not just floaty. All right. Let's think about fingers for a second. Now I can keep kind of going with the motion capture, which I already have some keys on the finger, or I could delete all the motion capture for the fingers and work, just kind of reanimate, rehand key those fingers. I'm not quite sure what I want to do just yet. Well, let's go back to where she's grabbing the crate, kind of start from there, because this is kind of where we left off with those fingers. So she's gonna set the crate down and she's gonna let go. So again, let's block it out. Broad brush strokes. By the way, if you're ever like, man, I keep selecting this object and I don't want to select it, go over to groups and just create a group for it and turn off pick. Now I can't accidentally select that thing. This looks like she got a little twitch there. Her fingers, maybe a little bit. Maybe. Kinda. Let's go check out these curves. Right there on the base animation layer, which is right here. I kind of digging what her hand is doing right there. A little bit, but I don't like how it gets there. It kind of like pops into there. Just gonna delete those keys leading up to it. Oh, select all the fingers and then delete keys. So a lot of times whenever I'm getting ready to strike a hand pose where they're like being expressive, I don't just in and out. I like to curl and roll, that sort of thing. So if I was reaching, but my hand was like this and I'm reaching back to tap my neck, a lot of times I'll pull the fingers in and then get that kind of a movement on there, and it a lot of times that reads pretty well from a distance that there's something going on. That's kind of what I'm going to do here. So let's go back to what she's doing here with her hand. Let's just get that pose right back on there. So there, and then she's going to kind of, she does kind of this kind of hand gesture here, but I need to make that a little bit stronger pose. Again, fingers tend to point inwards. See, just pushing those fingers in like that helps out a lot. I keep saying that because I've seen so much bad finger animation in CG. Or I don't know if I should say bad finger animations, like bad finger poses that just don't look natural. They look very fake, and it bugs me. It irks me. So I don't mind that kind of touching the index to the thumb. That's kind of cool. So right here, her hand should be splayed just a little bit, just because she's extending her fingers to reach around the back of her head. They look very wooden right now, so I'll just kind of give them that same treatment. Loosen them up a little bit, rotate these fingers in just a little bit, and kind of group my fingers a little bit together. So do y'all want some useless trivia while I animate these fingers? Something I just ran across because I like useless knowledge. So the original, when Star Trek: The Next Generation originally aired, it was shot on 35mm film, right? But all the effects were shot on video to save money, essentially. So when, I believe it was Paramount finally had to re-release Star Trek: The Next Generation for like on DVD, they actually had to go back and re-edit the entire series because it was, when it finally went to like HD television and whatnot, the graphics looked so low res that they just had to. So useless knowledge. If they only knew how big that series was going to be. Let's save right there. More useless Star Trek knowledge. Gosh, I can't remember their names. It is... I can't remember the actor who plays Will Riker. His name. And him and Picard. Those are the only two characters to be on every single episode of Star Trek Next Generation. I'm sure some of you can help me out with these names. My brain is shutting down. Patrick Stewart. Did I mention I'm tired? Spent a long day animating on the Predator video game, which I'm super excited to be working on. I think, and I think it's fun. I'm hoping everybody else finds that, who plays the game ends up finding it fun as well. Sir Patrick Stewart. That's right, because he's a sir. He got knighted. Gene Roddenberry didn't really originally want him to be Picard. He wanted somebody much younger. But the producer said no. And after everybody else fell through and didn't work out in the auditions, they went with him. He was known as that English Shakespearean actor. And I believe the cast put a note on his dressing room door that said the unknown Shakespearean actor. Patrick Stewart. Useless knowledge. Fingers are bugging me. There we go. Let's do that. So the reason why I brought up Star Trek was I actually been watching it at work while I work. Well, listening to it as I work. And I decided to go to IMDb for some reason to look up something. I think I was looking up the actor who played Barclay on the series, who was also in the A-Team. Played Howling Mad Murdoch in the A-Team. Then he later got the role as Barclay on Star Trek The Next Generation. And that's where I came across all this trivial knowledge. So what was your favorite Star Trek Next Generation episode if you had one. And leave it in the comments below. I'm kind of interested. I'm trying to think which one would be my favorite. So one of the interesting things about Star Trek is how many people, who would be considered, more famous actors appeared on that series before they were famous. In fact, there's a few where I'm like, wait a second, I know that guy. I didn't realize he was on an episode of Next Generation. God, I can't remember his name though. So bad with names, but man, I've seen that guy like in a ton of things. So kind of like, remember when I was talking about flaring the fingers out? Like you come up and you'll like flare, you'll curl them in and then you'll flare them out and then you'll grab a hold of the thing. That can be overdone. And I'm trying to remember which game it was. There was a game I was playing. It was a first-person shooter. I want to say it was one of the Call of Duty games. And the animator who animated grabbing the weapons, every time you just see the fingers just go flare out like really far and then curl in. And it was just so distracting. I wasn't like it was bad animation. It's just they kind of rushed that one, I think. It's like you don't need to I understand why they did it, but man, it just flaring every time I saw that the hand flare. I was like, people's hands don't flare like that. All right, so she's grabbing a hold of that. Not great, but it's okay. A little bit more work with those fingers, I think. I don't think I'm going to put the camera here on her hand. I think I'll probably I might do an over-the-shoulder shot like this. Just to kind of hide some of that. But we'll probably see it right here. So I'll fix the hand right here. There we go. I keep selecting that prop. Let's go to groups, create, turn that off. Now I can't select it anymore. There we go. So she's got to move her hand around there, so I'm trying to think of how her hands would like grab it and manipulate it. So she grab it. Let me think about this. Hit save. Let it save while I think about this. Oh, I bet when you guys watch this on YouTube, you're gonna be like skipping through all this stuff. It's really boring. Boring animation. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move her thumb this way. Alright, so now I'm going to work backwards. So I'm going to work from where she lets go to where she's got a hold of it. Because we obviously want her to have a hold of it right here, right? There she goes. Now it feels like she's kind of like wiggling it down and allowing it to kind of like slide down in her hand just a little bit before she lets it go. So I set a 0 key for those fingers to kind of get them back to where the mocap was, and now I'll just kind of do a quick little edit to the pose. Well, for anybody who ever wanted to know how long animation takes, it takes a long time. What's crazy is if I was hand keying this, it would take like 10 times longer than doing this with motion capture. She drops her hand to the side. Let's go back to my pose controls and paste that pose back onto her fingers. It's a little more natural. There we go. Now she goes in for the handshake. She doesn't quite get to his hand. So I'm gonna go to right where she makes contact, right there. Now this could be a case of who controls who. So I've already got her hand pretty extended out here. Might be able to get a little bit more by pushing that shoulder in. Or pushing it forward. But I don't think I want to extend her hand any more than that. I'll bring his hand up to meet her hand. He's got a little bit more of a reach. We'll set a key there. I'll probably do some manipulation of the two when I'm done. Like an extra edit on top of all this. Bam. So I keep adding these 0 keys in, like when I want her hand in contact here, then I scrub back, her arm IK's out. So I'm like, well, 0 key, boom, in place. Well, their arm kind of hyperextends right here. I don't know, the more I go into this, I'm thinking it's a 16-hour motion edit. I'm thinking it's probably longer than that. It's probably a good solid 3, maybe even 4 days. It's just the amount of contact that's happening in here. It's getting there. I keep watching it. That's something you should be doing as an animator, sitting back and just watching the animation. So close to getting that right arm done. It's so far away. All right, so I'm gonna say that's okay for the handshake for now. Now I'm just gonna worry about her picking up the money. I'm gonna check her hips too, because it looks like something's off on her hips. She kind of has this like bent knee kind of a walk, which bugs me. I think it's okay here. It's kind of a cool pose. I think when she starts to walk away, she might need to come up a little bit. Whoop, not that high. Come on, select. Our legs are IKing out right there. So I gotta be careful, right? So bring that back down. Right about there. Just gonna grab that right there. Remember, the actress who played this part was shorter. Slightly different proportions, so oh, I clicked the thing. Reset my layout. Using a Wacom tablet to animate. Sometimes I click on things I shouldn't. But hey, it's fast. Way faster than using a mouse. It's a little difficult to get used to a Wacom tablet at first, but man, I tell you, once you get used to it, you don't ever want to use another mouse. At least when animating, working. Only when I'm doing like things that need to be a little more precise do I switch over and grab my mouse and start using that. Ooh, tired. Alright, so she's going to reach down and pick that up and walk away, and she never puts the money back in her little thing, so that's cool. So let's grab that money. So money time. Haha, let's talk about money. So when my actor fell on the floor and he dropped the money, it went flying off the stage. And then we had a helper on the side of the stage pick up the money and set it back right there. So what I want is I want that money not to go over here. I want it to just go right there. So let's figure out how to do that. I think first things first, I'm going to grab whatever this pose is, which is right there like that. And I am going to get that pose. So pose controls, and I'm going to create a pose off of that. Remember, that is part of her control rig, so she's able to take a pose. I'll set a key right there. That's going to be my reference key. Frame 956. Then I am going to go into my F-curve editor on the base animation layer. And I'm just going to delete a few keys in front of this. Basically, and then I'm going to go to where it actually lands and finishes making contact with the floor right over here. So it falls and goes tumble, tumble, tumble. Right about there. And delete the keys up to that point. All right. So now I'm going to go back to my base animation layer, and I am going to set a key. That's another bookmark key, so I know where I'm going. Now let's go to where he actually loses it, and I'm going to say right about here. Maybe back, yeah, right there. All right, set a key. So this is another bookmark key. So that is my 0 key. And then this is going to be my offset key. And she doesn't flip it, she just slides it over, so that's good. So now I'm going to paste my pose, boink, right there. Because I'm in body part mode, it's only affecting that control node. Set my key right there. Now let's find out what happens. So he drops it and punk. But it kind of does this weird tumbly thing. And it's because when it makes contact with the ground, it's actually making it right there, and I don't want it there. I want it a little bit earlier in the time, maybe right about there. Not great. Let me think about this. He really checks it a long way. That does not look good to me. I'm going to delete that key right there, which throws it back out into space right there. Maybe it tumbles too much. Always turn on your trajectory and see what kind of, in this case, a very ugly mess. Yeah, that's pretty brutal. And delete that. I'm going to now look at my translational curves in the base animation layer and see what's going on here, but just translation. And I think that's, I want to get rid of that. I get rid of a lot of that, so I don't think I want the Y to get rid of the Y. I just want to get rid of the X and the Z. So this is a great place to do ghosting. So I'm gonna set keep, which is gonna keep those curves. And I'm gonna hit delete or select that. Oh, if it'll let me select it. Weird bug. All right, so. Delete that. So you can see it's got this ghosted thing behind it. There you and then it slides over. Let's get rid of those keys right there because they are no longer useful. slides. All right, let's look at that base. A little bit of a whoop back into place. I think that's something that can be fixed. How should I fix that? That could probably be fixed later. Later in the edit. What happens if I paste that pose here on the base animation layer? Nothing. If I delete it there, come here and paste it. And it kind of like snaps. It's a little snappy snap. There's that rotation. There's that rotational snap. I'm going to go ahead and keep that and delete that. See how I like it. It's not too bad. All right, let's look at let's see how this works. Let's hide that. Let's look at it again. Probably shouldn't have gotten rid of all this, I think. Or maybe, oh wait, maybe, hold on. So it hits, boink. Let's look at this closer. Seems like this might need to be lowered a little bit. There we go. All right, so yeah, there we go. Fix the prop from flying off the stage and out of view. then having to bring it back in. So we have a nickname for the people who stand off to the side of the stage. We've been calling them prop goblins because they just kind of appear with the prop and hand it to the actor. If they're doing their job right, that is. All right, back to her hand, picking up the prop. I'm going to go ahead and hit save just to be on the safe side. Come on, select that. Erg. There we go. Oh, I should have been on the base or on an animation layer. There we go. That's going to get self into place. So the reason why I put it up there and then I'm going to animate it down is I kind of want it to follow the hand a little bit. Now I can turn that aux effector back on. Right there. I think I need to add a couple of offset keys to that prop after she yoinks it up. Yoink. Right there. Yoink. So now I'm just kind of figuring out how to get this hand positioned on here just right. Yeah, probably right about there. Right about there. See how this animation plays out. Shoots him. And she got to walk away with the cash. Drops a little low, but that's fine. That's a easy enough fix. I don't know if I like how she's holding the money on as she walks out. Erg. I think she'll pick it up and let it rotate into her hand in a more natural way. Turn that off for now. Sometimes you have to move your auxiliary effector away from your control rig to be able to align it and select things. Just trying to make this money feel a little more natural in her hand. So our actress had slightly more muscular thighs. I don't want to say bigger. She didn't have big thighs. She had strong, like, because she did a lot of weightlifting and that sort of thing. So they were like, had more mass to them. I'm trying to think of polite ways to say her thighs were a lot thicker than this character. Yeah, I think it feels a lot better right there. All right, let's look at this from this angle. Yeah, shoot, I don't think I noticed anything egregious. That'll work. Now let's do the fingers. Fingers. I'm ready. I am ready for sleep. I'm ready to be done with this for tonight. Animate all day, animate all night. Her wrist looks a little strange to me. Yeah, it's in the base data. I'll just rotate that wrist out a little bit so it doesn't look so awkward. Get that wrist fixed as we move in to grab the cash. All right, finger time. Stop, finger time. So I will be going in here and trying to get these fingers to feel like they're making contact with this prop. And if I have to put a key on every frame, I will, to make it look right. So yeah, I'd say this is probably not my most exciting of Twitch streams. Normally I show principle and concept and I go ahead and I allow a little bit of slop to happen with the animations because really it's just an example, right? Since I decided to kind of show the inner workings and exactly what it takes to motion edit, it's got to be boring for some people. I think this is where I'll flare those fingers out just a little bit. It's what I was talking about earlier, just you got to flare fingers out sometimes to kind of sell the fact that you're getting ready to grab a hold of something or whatnot. So sometimes I think to sell the grab, you have to kind of like delay the fingers a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab all these. I'm going to shift them by a frame that way at first. Then do a little adjustment so it doesn't look like things are clipping. Of course, now I have to fix all the fingers since I did that little frame shift. There's one little frame where they hop off, so I'll fix that. That's probably where the final resting pose for the hand will be, so let's come up with a good finger pose for this. There we go. Almost there. Seems like that's working. Let's check that last. Not quite holding on to it, but pretty darn close. Could actually go back to that last frame and copy that pose and just kind of paste it along the way. Make sure that those fingers are sticking right where I think they should be. But I don't know, now that I think about it, let me go back to that first key. I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to group these fingers a little bit more together. Yeah, that's a bit better. Yeah, that's better. I like that. All right, set that key, or copy that pose. Because there's underlying mocap, the fingers are going to be a little bit off, so I just throw a few of those, paste a few keys of that pose along the way. I just realized her other hand has something weird going on. What's going on there? She holsters the gun. And then her hand does what? It's an unpleasant pose is what it does. Let's fix that. I thought I had that taken care of last night. I guess I did not. Or not last night, last week. There we go. Well, whatever foul up I made, it's better. I think I need to do a quick adjustment on that hand as well. Had a weird angle to that wrist. Yeah, right there. That was the weird angle. All right. All right, so the last thing I have to do with her right arm is make contact with his arm, but I have to kind of like work on both of them at the same time. So I think I might call this a night for tonight. But before I say I'm done, let's hit save because I see the little red save me button up there. So we don't want to lose anything accidentally. I think I'm going to go ahead and plot everything down. Ooh, excuse me. Yawn, yawn, yawn. All right, so I'll recheck that pull effector on her before I do. I'm just double checking all the animation right now, making sure that there's nothing weird going on. There's nothing worse than having an auxiliary effector on when it shouldn't be on, and so you do a bake of your animation, and then all of a sudden your arms are all messed up. Oh, look at that handshake real fast. And then, even though I'm not doing it just yet, she has this motion she does I'm not quite sure of. I wonder if there's some flippity stuff going on in the base layer. Let's check that out. That might be it right there. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's the bad key right there. See that? It's a weird spike. So let's delete that. You can see her fingers are all mangled up too. Marker data must have gotten all mangled up. So and get rid of that key too. Let's see how that looks. That's better, I think. She's really quick to let go here. What if I don't have that 0 key? Oh, it'd help if I deleted the correct one. It's not too bad. Yeah, it looks kind of like she's like grabbing him, holding his hand, and then kind of shoots him, right? So maybe he grips, so to speak. And she kind of wants to yank her hand away. I'll go with that. Getting rid of those little hitches helped. All right, I think I'm going to plot this down. Let's do that. So, plot skeleton. Plot control rig. And the right arm is done for the most part. I mean, not completely done, but done enough for this in particular pass. And that was quite a few hours just working on that one arm. Of course, there's a lot of contact. She's got the most, right? So she's holding onto the crate. She's got the money. She's got this pistol. She grabs a hold of him. She's got a lot of constraints on her. So what does he do? He grabs a hold of the crate, catches the money, and then shakes her hand. So a little bit less contact. So we'll concentrate. We'll probably move over to him next time and get him going. All right. Go ahead and hit save. Save that data. And I think I'll call it a night. This is another very long, very tedious, probably for you all, a very boring stream. But hopefully when this makes it to YouTube, some of you will be able to get something out of it. If you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe, follow, whatever, and see more of this. And hopefully, it won't be too much longer before I finish this animation and we can put it into Unreal. So yeah, if you stuck with it, I wish there was an achievement I could give you, because this was quite a lot of boring just watching me work. But maybe next episode will be a little bit more lively and entertaining. So all right, y'all have a good night. Y'all have a good night, and I will catch you next time.